Number 10. At number 10, we have the space opera master, Leiji Matsumoto, most notable for series such as Galaxy Express 999, Space Battleship Yamato, and of course, Space Pirate Captain Harlock. While he does have many other series, these three are perhaps his most iconic and influential to the world of anime and manga. Galaxy Express 999 is very influential to the world of sci-fi, and can be seen having quite an influence on one of my personal favorite anime series, Kaiba, as well as having an entire Doraemon movie dedicated to it, being 1996's Nobita in the Galaxy Express. Moving on to Captain Harlock, Harlock is influential for, well, mostly being Harlock. While the stoic nature of Harlock was mainly influenced by Ozuma Tezuka's Blackjack, Harlock since his debut in 1977 became an icon. He was one of the earliest space pirates in the manga world, as well as had one of the earliest gun-sword fusions. However, his most iconic and influential quality is that he was, and still is, a very great example of a romantic hero. However, Matsumoto's greatest series has to be Space Battleship Yamato, which is very iconic not only to sci-fi and other space operas, but in anime and manga in general, as it sort of pushed for more stories that have more serious and complex stories. And was also a major influence for other classic series such as Mobile Suit Gundam and Neon Genesis Evangelion. Speaking of Evangelion, the series director Hideaki Anno stated that Space Battleship Yamato was the series that got him into anime, as well as one of his all-time favorites. Adding on top of that, it was also one of the earliest series to be brought to the US under the name of Star Blazers. However, the thing with Battleship Yamato is that it's not entirely Matsumoto's work. Sure, he made the manga for it, but Yamato was originally an anime first. While Matsumoto did co-write and co-direct the anime, it still isn't entirely his, as the rights to Yamato belong to Yoshinbun Nishisaki. Though, to be fair, Matsumoto did influence how the series would turn out, as the original concept for the series was pretty different before he came on board with the project. Other notable things to mention about Matsumoto is that his series have proven to be so iconic that in the city of Tsugura in Japan, 24 bronze statues have been made playing out different scenes of his series. Matsumoto also supervised Daft Punk's musical film Interstellar 5555, as Daft Punk are fans of Matsumoto. Oh, and believe me, it doesn't stop there, as in Japan there's an actual cruise ship called the Himiko that was designed by Matsumoto himself. However, as great and influential his series are, their impact on pop culture and manga today are not as significant when compared to the mangaka to come. Which brings us to number 9. At number 9 we have Hirohito Araki, the Mortal. I mean, really, does this guy ever age? Araki is of course well known for the various parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which have exploded in popularity as of lately. JoJo has inspired series such as Shaman King with its use of spirits, as well as the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga, which apparently got its Egyptian in-game theme from Part 3. Though looking deeper into Araki's works, you could also say one of his earlier series, Magic Boy BT, also gave the Yu-Gi-Oh manga a fair dose of inspiration. Outside of anime and manga, Araki's works have inspired various video game series. In Street Fighter, the characters Rose and Guile look very similar to JoJo's Lisa and Stroheim. In the King of Fighters series, the character Benimaru Nikaido is obviously inspired by Polnareff. One of the special moves for the character Peacock in Skullgirls is very identical to Dio Brando's iconic Steamroller combo, but probably one of Rocky's biggest influence in gaming is the Persona series, which got the ideas for Persona from Stans, and while the story to Persona 4 does have quite a few similarities to JoJo's Part 4. On top of all this, you have the various references and parodies done by other anime and manga series, as well as a good handful of Japanese idols who make quite a few JoJo poses. However, Araki is a number 9 because while his series have been influential and some of their presence can be really felt in various other series, but when compared to those who have helped start / redefine certain genres as well as inspire entire generations of manga to come, they sort of pale in comparison. And with that, we move on to number 8. At number 8, we have the master of manliness, Boruto Son. Like most mangaka on this list, Boruto Son has quite a few series he's worked on. However, his most influential and iconic work is of course Fist of the North Star, a series that truly brought manliness to the world of manga. Sure, there were some manly series before it like Golgo 13 and Kinnikuman, however, Fist of the North Star brought true manliness to manga, as well as set the bar for it. I mean, come on, this series has its own brand of condoms. On top of bringing manliness to manga, Boruto Son's work on North Star inspired an entire generation of manga. Series around the time such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Sakigake Otokojuku, to an extent City Hunter, and going outside shonen series series, Riki-Oh, were all heavily influenced by Fist of the North Star. Not to mention the various other series that featured characters inspired by someone in the North Star series. Also, I can't forget to mention this series popularized probably one of the most iconic forms of attack in shonen, being rapid fire punches, with Kenshiro's Hakuratsu Ken. Even now, series such as Toriko and Kongo Bancho draw a great amount of influence from Fist of the North Star, but sadly most of its influence declined after the 80s, where taste in shonen started to change. However, for bringing in manliness as well as inspiring an entire generation of manga, Boruto Son rightfully holds its place at number 8.
Falcon!
Number 7. At number 7, we have the sports manga king, Ikki Kajiwara, whose most popular works include Ashita no Joe, Tiger Mask, Kyojin no Hoshi, Karate Baka Ichidai, and Akaichi no 11. Starting off with Ashita no Joe, we have a boxing series that took both the world of manga and Japan by storm. Ashita no Joe followed a delinquent orphan boy by the name of Joe, who after a series of struggles gets into boxing. However, it's Joe's character that really struck a chord with Japanese readers, as he represented the lower class youth of the time going through the massive changes Japan was facing in the 60s, which led to Joe becoming an icon for the people then. I mean, this series was so beloved by its audience, as no spoilers, however, when a character in this series dies, that character actually received a real funeral watched over by a Buddhist priest, which is something you just don't hear for a lot of other characters or series for that matter. Not to mention just how iconic this series is. I mean, many moments from this series have been used as tributes or parodies in various other manga series. Hell, one of the biggest moments of the smash hit Gurren Lagann is actually a tribute to one of the most iconic scenes in Ashita no Joe. Actually, now that I think of it, a lot of scenes from Joe were in Gurren Lagann. Moving on, we have another influential series by Kajiwara, being Tiger Mask, a series about a masked wrestler fighting for charity, which I'm assuming as the series debuted in the late 60s, I'm guessing is the first series to have this kind of story, because I swear I've seen that storyline a couple times over the years. But getting back on track, this series has inspired both King and Armor King from the Tekken franchise, as well as inspired both a real charity and a handful of Japanese pro wrestlers who also go under the name Tiger Mask. Then there's also Kyojin no Hoshi, a baseball series which anime adaptation in 1968 was one of the first ever sports anime series, and as a whole was just a very inspirational series. However, one of the most interesting things about this series is that in 2012 it got a remake in India called Suraj the Rising Star, which substituted baseball for cricket. Finally, there's Karate Baka Ichidai and Akaichi no 11, both of which are responsible for the huge boom in interest in both karate and soccer during their run. Fun fact about Akaichi no 11, while many consider the legendary Captain Tsubasa series to be the first soccer manga, it was actually Akaichi no 11, as it debuted in the early 70s, whereas Captain Tsubasa debuted in the early 80s, with a good amount of influence from Kajiwara's work. Now, it would be very hard to imagine where the sports genre manga would be without Kajiwara, as he truly kickstarted the genre for all to enjoy, which is why he secures his place at number 7.